Continuation. The Delusion of Civil War, a response to Tim Pool. No, Tim, this isn't 1861. And no, Kansas bleeding doesn't mean what you think it does in this context. Let's break it down. Because your comparison, while lowbrow and performative, manages to capture a whiff of anxiety in the air. You've got senses, congratulations. But instincts without understanding only make for paranoia masquerading as insight. You're not watching a civil war. You're watching the collapse of a global financial system that once seemed eternal. What's coming isn't brother against brother over a Mason-Dixon line. It's not the Battle of Antietam. This is something far older, more complex, and more dangerous. This is the seizure of a world order, a paradigm shift driven by tectonic movements in global finance, production, trade, and trust. The collapse of dollar supremacy is not a subplot. It's the whole damn play. This is a world historic moment, not a domestic spat. Civil war? No, this is imperial succession on a planetary scale. What's unraveling now has more in common with the destabilizations that birthed the Napoleonic Wars, the 7 Years' War, and World War I than anything in America's internal history. The 7 Years' War didn't just redraw maps, it reshaped empires. The American Revolution bankrupted France, whose overextension led to the terror and the rise of Bonaparte, who would go on to sack Europe and send tremors into the very soil that would eventually germinate the seeds of German unification. And Germany, hungry for a colonial empire and naval power to match Britain, dared to challenge the hegemon, sparking World War I. It was never about Archduke Franz Ferdinand. It was about who gets to run the world. We're there again. This isn't civil war. It's imperial reconfiguration, and you can hear its footfalls in de-dollarization deals, BRICS expansion, rare earth acquisition, and the slow, calculated erosion of Western monetary authority. The dollar isn't just losing value, it's losing trust, it's losing command. So no, Tim, this isn't 1861. It's more like 1744, 1789, 1914. Moments where new empires were born and old ones died under the weight of unsustainable extraction and financial illusion. You want to talk civil war? Look at the Philippines, named for King Philip of Spain. The Spanish mined South American silver at unspeakable human cost, not to fill their own coffers, but to meet the single greatest demand of global trade at the time: Chinese silver taxes. The Chinese emperor demanded taxes be paid only in silver because his bureaucracy was too corrupt and too bloated to function with internal fiat. Sound familiar? The Spanish weren't building wealth. They were middlemen, bleeding the New World dry just to funnel metal across the Pacific. That's the same colonial reflex that underwrites the dollar today. The West replaced China. We became the demand sink. We became the empire with a corrupt, unaccountable bureaucratic class too arrogant to fix itself. And like the Qing, we outsourced our production, over-leveraged our system, and buried our youth in distractions while quietly trading our sovereignty for the illusion of dominance. Now the Silk Road is being reborn without us, and the world from Riyadh to Sao Paulo to Beijing is realigning. This isn't a war for states. This is a war for civilizations. So Tim, if you're going to keep talking about civil war, do us all a favor. Read a real book about real empires and what really causes them to fall. Because what's coming doesn't care about your blue hats and red hats. It's coming for the entire illusion.